Recently, there was a documentary on BBC iPlayer showing Big Zoo, who's a celebrity TV chef and a rapper. He was planning to go to Umrah, so we see him from when he's deciding to go until he's completed it, the whole journey they show, and they also speak to him and his friends and even his mom, speaking about Islam and Muslims, and he goes to perform Umrah with his friends that we see on his dish program, the way he Big Zoo's Big Eats, I think it's called, where he cooks food for celebrities, and Tubsy and Hyder. We see them perform Umrah with him, and we see him just before he goes. Um, we see a few scenes of him doing different things during Ramadan, like playing football, um, breaking iftar with his friends, as well as praying the Maghrib prayer. We see him speaking about his upbringing. Maybe he wasn't as religious as others, but he also knew about Islam and being a Muslim, and how his friends Tubsy and Haida, they kind of encouraged him in the sense of reminding him about Islam and things like this. And then we also see that he speaks about, of course, he sins and people sin, but that doesn't make them less Muslim. They just have to look past the sins and try and do what they're supposed to be doing. And we see him actually perform the Umrah and cut his hair, and we see him in Medina, and it's refreshing in a way where he isn't maybe something that you see 10 years ago, a watered down version of things. Some things maybe I nitpick and say could be changed, but I'm not going to speak about that on in this occasion. We also see Tubsy speaking about how people are almost automatically, when someone says Allahu Akbar, they think is something bad, because the stereotype and people associate it with people bombing things or blowing up, with terrorism and things like this, where it just means God is great, and they shouldn't be thinking like that, but it's a stereotype which many people still believe. And it's good to see that they also showed the prayer, and when they were in performing Umrah, we also see bits of them, and we can see that even though maybe people are doing certain things in certain industries, they're still connected to the religion, and it's something that they want to be connected to, and it isn't something reserved for pious Muslims, if you like. It's refreshing to see, and also we get to see that it's not like when he goes to learn about the steps of Umrah, he says that he's googled some of the things, but he goes to speak with an imam. It's refreshing to see that the imam isn't dealing with him like, oh, you don't know knowledge, you don't have the knowledge, and you like this, and he explains to him in a way where it's easy to understand, but you also want to ask more questions and you want to learn. You don't feel like you're dumb, if you like, if I want to use that word. And we see him by the ihram, and the imam explains a little bit of how everyone's going to wear the same things and things like this. It's good to see, and it's good to see that something like this is on mainstream TV for people to see, and for people to see Muslims and Islam in a positive light. Like I always mention in other videos, when people convert to Islam, I always say people deal with Muslims in real life, in the workplace, in the shops, elsewhere, and they see them for who they are. They see them that they're just ordinary people practicing their religion, being good, and they don't do it, and they look into it, and they become Muslims. And we see a bit of this in here, and it's good to see that it isn't the usual take on Muslims that many companies and TV programs pick, where they pick specific type of Muslims to show a specific type of Islam that they want to show that isn't mainstream. They might show a Muslim who's doing X, Y, Z, and they say X, Y, Z is allowed when it isn't, and they push that sort of narrative here. We can see, even though Big Zoo says that sometimes he drinks or he's in the clubs or whatever, he understands that he shouldn't be doing those things, and he understands, as Muslims, people would say Muslims shouldn't be doing those things. Whereas other times we might see in other programs people saying, "Oh, it's fine to drink," or they try and make it seem like, "Oh, it's a matter." And there's nowadays, in modern days, groups of Muslims where it's fine as long as you believe in God, you can drink and it's fine. And we often see things like this, but it's good to see that we didn't see any of this in this program, and hopefully we see more things like this on mainstream TV, showing true Islam, showing it in a positive light, and not using their the resources and the money that they have and the amount of audiences that they manage to get watching these programs. They don't use all of that to show negative things. Rather, hopefully they do things like this where they show Muslims in a positive light. Particularly now when there's a lot of Islamophobia, we need things like this to show what true Islam is, and to show that Muslims are good people and they're not what a lot of the media shows.